So Bob Crimian, I'm local to Savannah. I've been here for about 7 years, and I'm here because I am dancing this year in this year's Brightside Child and Family Advocacy's fundraiser, Dancing with Savannah Stars.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen Thomas with Support Real Estate. I had an opportunity to sit down and talk with my friend Bob Crimian, who is a CASA with a company called Brightside. He's a court-appointed special advocate for kids in the foster care system. And honestly, he has a really cool story. I'm excited to share it. So please enjoy the video and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
And as CASAs, we help children under foster care and advocate for their needs in the courtroom, but also where they might be placed while they're in foster care.
Interesting. How does that work? And I guess one of the questions I had was, how did you get into that?
Sure. I actually wrote a blog about this that's on Brightside's page if you want to look at it. But it was during COVID 2020. It was a bleak time for a lot, or all the world, we'll say.
Definitely.
And I was actually recovering from COVID, and I was watching the news, and my friend texted me about this program, CASA, and I'd never heard it before. And I read more about it, how it's helping children in foster care, which is an important cause for me. And while that was happening, on the news, I had seen that there was a child during a storm that went into foster because both their parents had passed away from COVID. There's no family to take her in. And I thought that was like a sign of the universe, whatever you want to call it. So I got involved and I went through a training, and then March 2021, I got my first case, and it's been a really life transforming experience for me to be a CASA for children in Savannah and Chatham County.
You are kind of that go-between between the child and new foster parents, or really just the court system?
Sure. So CASAs are typically, they're the constant person in a child's life while they're in foster care, because there's a lot of caseworkers that they switch between. There's a lot of judges that they will see. They sometimes have different placements, so they'll be having new people around them all the time. The CASA is that one person that is always in their corner, and that really does a lot for the child. I forget the statistic, but a child that has a CASA assigned to them while they're in foster care is at least 2-3 times more likely to like go to college, to get a job. And then I think I forget the statistic, but if a CASA is involved in a foster child's experience, they're more likely just to like survive.
Nice.
Because imagine when you were 18 and going out on your own, having no idea what you were doing, but you had people around you to help you. A lot of foster children don't have that. So figuring out on their own is a very daunting task, and sometimes they don't always get in the best situations. So when you have a CASA that's there from the beginning of their time in care to help them navigate the foster care system, figure out what needs they need and the things that they desire while they're in probably one of the most traumatic times of their lives.
Yeah.
It's a really effective tool and a service that I feel great about doing, and then in turn I get so much enjoyment and reward from doing this.
Absolutely. Because like whenever you see a kid just like enjoying life and succeeding, it's such a fulfilling thing.
It really is. Like what foster child I have now, his name is Marlon. He actually this past October got a scholarship.
Yeah.
And he's graduating this May 17th, hopefully. And just it was at a banquet. He was not like, he knew he was getting it, but he didn't really know what to expect. So they called his name. He went up on stage and got a standing ovation. And his face was just like shocked.
So shocked. Wow.
And then afterwards, he pulls me aside and kind of goes like, "Wow, I've come a long way, haven't I?" I'm like, "Yeah, you have. You've done a lot of work on yourself and trying to get this situation together with your parents and things." I'm not getting into the story, obviously.
Yeah.
But he says, "Yeah, you really helped me get there." And for that's all I could ever hope for, is that I'm doing something positive for him, and I am. And then this turns into him succeeding, which is partially my success also as the CASA. So it's really it's an amazing experience.
That's awesome. What is like day-to-day activities? How do you kind of balance that with your full-time job and life?
Yeah, it's not your typical volunteer opportunity. It's a lot of time investment, emotional investment as well. So when I first met Marlon, I'll talk about him. I talked to him. He called me every day for 4 months. Every day we talked, because that was how we were going to build trust. because he knew who I was. I was trying to get to know him, so we talked every day and got to know each other. Just kind of talked about his situation, what he likes, what he's interested in. I visited him the first time, and we worked on improving his jump shot, which he really enjoyed. Um, so there's a lot of excuse me, time involved in just getting to know the child and then understanding what they need. And then in turn, when it comes to going to hearings, you are there on behalf of the child, advocating for what they need and want. So for Marlon, he's a teenager, so it was things like trying to see if he could get a job, trying to figure out his high school schedule and getting tutoring services, things of that nature. So you're there to do that, and in between the building a relationship with your child and with the court advocacy, there's a lot of calling like doctors. Is he getting his annual physical? Is he getting his dentist appointments? Does he have counseling services at the placement that he is at? There's a lot of things involved. I'm not a parent, but I imagine this is only a taste of what it's like. But it is like taking on somebody else's life in a way because you are their one constant support system as an adult there. So it can be a lot, and then there are times where it's very frustrating working with lawyers, the county defects, which do an amazing job. They're very underserved, so there's a lot happening there with your CASA coordinator, with different people in the placement. My child he's 4 hours away in Georgia, so trying to coordinate that. There's a lot involved.
So they're not necessarily just here in Savannah. This is kind of a statewide program?
Well, the CASA, Court Appointed Special Advocates, are a national organization. There's a chapter here in Savannah, Chatham County, through the Brightside Child and Family Advocacy nonprofit that's here in Savannah. A lot of children that are in the foster care system actually are not placed necessarily in Savannah, Chatham County. There's a lack of housing for foster care. There's not many group homes. There's unfortunately not enough foster parents or foster families around this area, so they are placed elsewhere in the state. So yeah, so 4 hours away is almost something that's not uncommon for, and so that's another thing you have to worry about is the child is then taken away from their home in a way and placed in a brand new environment, and sometimes they go through umpteen placements while they're in foster care, and that in itself is just really unsettling for the child. So you being that constant person, that constant voice is something that really, really matters.
Wow. That's something that I never really thought about. And I don't think a lot of people really realize that there's normal, everyday kids that are going through this type of situation. Our business, we just focus on getting, like, here's the happy new home, here's a new place for your family. But there's always these stories and these real life, real people going through these things. Do you have more than one kid that you like advocate with?
So I started 2 years ago, so I'm still on my first case. And Marlon will be graduating high school, which is very exciting, and I'll be sticking with him, but I'll probably get a new case then once he kind of transitions out of high school. Because some people do have 2-3 cases, which I don't know how they do it. It's a lot of time and a lot of effort.
Yeah. A lot of emotion too, because you really have to pour into. You
do, and you want to get to know the child the best you can, build a relationship, but you also have to set boundaries for yourself and for the child, realizing that you're not their parent, you're there to advocate for them. Because ultimately, what we always love to happen is reunification. For the children to be reunited with their parents, that's always the goal. Sometimes that doesn't work out though, and that's sometimes the harder situation. So you have to figure out how to balance your emotions while still wanting them to be reunited with the parents if that's the best option for them. Does that make sense?
So, and I guess first question is, are these like young kids or are they mostly teenagers? So
they can be from birth, in some cases to 18, and then at 18, the child gets to choose if they want to stay in care or if they want to exit foster care and just do things on their own. They're allowed to stay in care until they are 21. So, and that's always something that is really a benefit because, again, like I said, at 18, I had no idea what I was doing. Thank goodness I had adults around me to figure things out. And a lot of times, if the child stays in care, they do what's called an independent living program, where they are assigned to an apartment that is ILP registered. They have somebody checks in on them. They can have a CASA still with them and figure out how do I pay a bill? How do I get to a secondary education that I want to do? How do I find a job? So they have people on the way to help them get there. And again, that's I know for 18, 21, that can be a tricky time, especially now you're a legal adult. So making sure you have that voice there to help it. Maybe let's not go down this route with spending our money. Maybe let's focus on this.
Right.
Doing a budget. Something I know people my age still have problems doing.
Right.
So it's something that really can be helpful for them. But to answer your question, all ages can be in foster care.
Okay. So how does the Dancing with the Stars?
Sure.
And okay, so we've heard of Dancing with the Stars, like the TV. It's a TV show.
It is
right?
a TV show. Very good.
Okay. But this is like a local thing.
Yeah. So it's Dancing with Savannah Stars. So I'm one of the stars this year. Dancing. There's 10 of us, and it's a really fun group. We're all very passionate about raising money for this organization, Brightside Child and Family Advocacy. And so, yeah, it's Savannah, Chatham County, and all the money that is raised through this fundraiser goes to the Brightside. It's all the money stays in Chatham County for this organization.
Awesome.
And CASA is one of the programs that this organization kind of has. They also have it called the Brightside House, which is a house that people can do visitations at if their child in foster care and they're not allowed to stay with their parents. It's a site where they can come together and have visitation, which is so important if that is an option that can be done. So either way, a bunch of stuff, and just like paying for staff time. Again, it's a nonprofit. I work for a nonprofit also. Just money is always going to be something that has to be raised. And this is their biggest fundraiser of the year. And it's a fun night. It's essentially I'm paired with a professional dancer in the Savannah area, as they all the dancers are. We learn to dance. We do it on stage. It's a really good time. There's mirror balls involved, but they can ball trophy. And hopefully we raise money. We're shooting for $200,000. That's our goal. Last year I think they raised $186,000. So
awesome.
Still a great amount of money. We want to try to get there though. And you can donate to the page. There's also dancers you can like support directly if you have a relationship with them.
So like
Bob Crimian right here.
Hey, there you go.
But if there's a company like Seaport or others who like, oh, I want to try to do more, there's sponsorships involved as well. Which there's a handy dandy pack here I can also scan, where you get like VIP tickets, you get recognition as far as great promotion for your business. It shows that you're supporting your local community. So there's a lot of good ways to be involved in this fundraiser.
Awesome. And so, like, just to reiterate, this fundraiser goes specifically to kids that need family, need advocates, need like that parental like guidance if they don't have it in their life.
Yeah, and a lot of times, again, there's a multitude of situations why a child is in foster care. It could be because their parents are just at this current time not fit to take care of them. It could be, unfortunately, they do not have parents around anymore in this world. There's a multitude of reasons.
Yeah.
The idea is though that to provide the most stable environment for the child while they're in foster care, and if the parent can get to a place where they can be reunited, that's also part of the goal. So working with sometimes the parents on what kind of programs do they need to make themselves more fit to take in their child again. Again, reunification is always the goal. Sometimes it doesn't work, but a lot of times it does, and it's really, really cool moment to see that.
Yeah, and like it sounds like good outcome for the last kid that you've been working with.
Marlon. Again, he's gonna hopefully graduate high school. He wants to get a job. He wants to maybe do trade school.
Awesome.
So like, there's really good movement there. Reunification is not in his future, unfortunately, and we've talked a lot about that. He's counseling at his group home that he's housed at. So we're really working through that kind of stuff. But I know he has told me this, having me there as like, oh, I can call Bob. That to him is really like, okay, I can talk this through. Whether that's he needs help with algebra, he wants to, hey, this jump shot, I want to try work on it next time you're here.
Yeah.
In a few weeks, I'll be going to see him and getting him ready for senior prom.
Awesome.
Learning how to tie a bow tie together.
Yeah.
So it's stuff like that just really, it's really important. And again, these children are just like your children out there. They really are. There's no different except they are in maybe a more difficult set of cards in their life than your children that are very privileged to have people around you that can and want to take care of you the best way possible.
Yeah.
The Dancing with the Savannah Stars event, it's May 3rd. It's at Victory North. It's at 6:30 p.m. It's going to be a lot of fun. You can Google Brightside Child and Family Advocacy, and on the page there is the Dancing with the Savannah Stars kind of event at the top. You can click on that. You can look through ways to donate. We're having a Almost There party on April 4th at Starling Yard. We'll be doing silent auction events, so you can donate things for that as well. So there's a lot of ways to get involved.
Do you know what dance you'll be doing? Have you
So-
been practicing?
My first lesson is tomorrow, actually. I've got
Alright.
narrowed down to 3 songs. I don't know if my style is freestyle. I don't think put it in a box.
Okay.
So we'll just see
There you
what
go.
comes out of it. But yeah, it's going to be a good time.
What are the 3 songs?
I don't want to give it away.
Oh,
But
really?
there's-
Okay.
Let's say Whitney, Beyonce, or Rihanna. One
Okay.
of those 3.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. You'll be ready for the next Super Bowl.
I sure will. I sure will.
That's cool. That's cool. How? Do you want to talk about how other people can get involved or
Yeah.
more
So if
donations?
We're always looking for volunteers also, so CASAs are always wanted. There are about 200 CASAs in our program now, but there are over 300 children that need to be served.
Mhm.
So some children unfortunately may not have a CASA assigned to them, and as I said, it's so important and so much of a benefit if a child has a CASA in their corner. So you can always become a CASA. They have different training segments throughout the year that you can be involved in. I think it's like maybe 6-week training session, 6 to 8 weeks.
Mhm.
You have to appear, listen to a court hearing, see how that whole thing works.
Mm.
You learn about the foster care system a bit more.
Because some people, this is a brand new world to them. They don't
Yes.
know anything. They're just thinking, Bob, I'm hearing what you're saying. I really like what you're saying because we love kids. We want next generation to be a strong foundation.
Mhm.
And it kind of breaks my heart when I hear about kids who are just in need or
Mhm.
just like going down the wrong path and they need somebody just strong, caring, loving to be in their life.
Yes.
Because we all need that. That's
Oh,
one of the
100%.
foundations.
It takes a village. It really does. And again, a lot of time the path that the child may be going is not due to them.
Mhm.
It's due to maybe their parent, guardian, whoever.
Mhm.
So there's so many situations where a child can end up in foster care, and it may not be the stereotypical ways some people may think it happens.
Mhm.
So it's like I said, the example, COVID struck on the news. These children were in foster care because both their parents were gone,
Mhm.
and no other family could take them in. Like it could be something even like that.
Man.
So it's really something that is. It's a hard volunteer job, but it's such a rewarding one. When I say life transforming, I don't mean that lightly. I really don't, because I always was interested in what does foster care system look like.
Mhm.
Being in it now, I see it much more clearly. I understand it more, and I understand the need for this
Mm.
kind of volunteer for these children. So it's something that is, again, it's a harder one,
Mhm.
but if you really want to invest in something that you get so much probably more back from than you can give,
Mm.
it's really something that is worth looking into.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for
No problem.
coming and talking.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely.